Welcome back to the channel, guys. In today's upload we are going to be going over the best game and audio settings in Modern Warfare. This applies for Warzone and multiplayer. There's a couple different things for each one, but I will be going over the best settings over multiplayer and Warzone. And before I get into this video, if this is your first time here to the channel, I upload best class setups, how-tos, gameplays, and pretty much anything that's going to help improve your Call of Duty skill. So if you want to get better at the game, make sure you hit that red button and turn on post notifications so you get notified whenever I upload and whenever I start my streams. And I just want to say thank you so much for 400 subscribers. It's actually crazy. Like, it doesn't seem like a lot, but 400 people, it's a decent amount of people. And so I just want to say thank you for all those people that have subscribed and supported me all the way up until this point. And now I am heading towards 500 subscribers. So if you want to help out the channel, make sure you subscribe. And if you guys can leave an early like, that would be awesome. But anyways, let's get right into this video. If you go into your settings, the first section is going to be controller. A lot of these, but not all of them, just a lot of them are personal preference. I'm going to be giving you my personal preference, but a lot of them is up to you guys to decide on what works best for you. Okay, for the first setting, which is the button layout preset, I have mine on default. I recommend you guys to have yours on tactical, and I will go over why in just a second. But so tactical, pretty much it swaps your melee and your crouch button, so you don't have to take the time to move your thumb off the stick and push the buttons. You can just click down on the stick instead of having to go from the stick to the B button. And so when you're trying to do all these advanced movements and you're trying to slide, it makes it a lot easier since you don't have to take time to move your thumb off. You can just click down. But the reason I play on default, I will show you guys in a second, is because I play claw, and so I have my pointer finger up here, and I push the buttons with my pointing finger instead of using my thumb. And so there's no point for me to swap my B and my melee button if I'm just going to use this finger anyways. And I have a scuff, so I have all these paddles, so I have all these buttons on the back. I don't really use it since I play claw. I just got it just because it looks cool. Stick layout preset, I would keep that on default. In vertical look, I would keep that on disabled. For those who do not know what the dead zone is, it is how much you need to move the right stick for it to actually register. This only applies for controller players. So the dead zone pretty much means how much resistance you need. Like, I can be moving my stick just a little bit, you can see it moving just a teensy bit, and it's not going to respond to that. But if I turn down the dead zone, it will respond to that. So for example, if I turn it up all the way up to 40, I could probably move the stick this much and nothing's going to happen on the screen. Now if I move it all the way down to the bottom, it's going to move by just like the slightest little movement. The screen's going to move. And for some controllers, including mine, since I've dropped mine a million times, sometimes you'll have a stick drift. So if you're idle, I'll show up some gameplay up on the screen right now. When you're idle, your screen will just move a little bit, and so when you increase the dead zone, that will remove that. So for me, I found out if I go to 0.07, it will completely eliminate the stick drift, and I still won't have to move the stick as much for it to respawn on the screen. Some people like it a little bit higher, but I've noticed the higher you go, the easier it is to control it at close range. Not if you go up to like 0.40, but if you just go up to like 0.15, it's easier to control at close range, but at longer range, it's harder to make those fine adjustments when you're sniping. And I found 0.07 for me, which is like right in the middle, so I can control everything in close range and long range fights. Some people like different numbers, but for me 0.07 works. And for you guys, I would move it down to 0.0 and see how much the screen moves, and if it moves, just increase it by a little bit and keep increasing it until your screen stops moving. And the last thing about dead zone, if you're really inaccurate at close range, I would recommend increasing it. It's going to make your shots a little bit more accurate, but it's going to make it a little bit of a downside when you're sniping across the map in Warzone. And now over to the horizontal stick sensitivity. I have mine on 7, and the vertical stick sensitivity is 7 again. I like to keep these the same just to keep everything consistent. Some people like to have it different. This is all again personal preference, and I know the pros use 6 to 8, and so I tried 7 and it actually worked out really good. So just try between 6 and 8, and if you need to go outside those boundaries, do so, but for most people it's going to be between 6 and 8. And ADS sensitivity multiplier low zoom, this is if you're using the iron sights or if you're using like a GI reflex, so pretty much when you're not using like a scoped weapon. And again, I would just mess around with this, find whatever works best for you. Try between 0.9 and 1.0, I guarantee most of you guys will like it between those. For my ADS sensitivity multiplier high zoom, I like 0.9, so it's just a little bit slower when I'm sniping so I can hit shots a little bit easier. Now over to the aim response curve type. I like to do linear. I know a lot of people just do standard. I used to do standard, but I switched over to linear recently, and I've been just like lasering people across the map. My shots have been more accurate. Not too many people do dynamic. I know some people are actually switching over to it. I've been hearing some YouTubers switching to dynamic, but me personally, I like linear over dynamic. Just go into a custom game with some bots and figure out which one you like the best. Controller vibration, I have disabled. I used to have enabled like 2 weeks ago. I had it enabled, but I was like, okay, I know most people who are better at the game, they have it disabled, and they're generally more accurate without the vibration. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna train myself to play on disabled. It was weird for a couple hours, but then all of a sudden I started hitting shots and staying on target with enemies I usually wouldn't, and I just overall became a better Call of Duty player without having the vibration. And I played on vibration for like 6 years, and then I recently just switched. If you want to get better at the game, I would highly recommend training yourself to play on disabled. It will be better in the long run. And for the aim assist, I have mine on standard. I would recommend keeping it on standard. I believe precision helps you at long range, but there's a little bit of a downfall at close range, and focusing does the opposite. And so standard's right in the middle. I would just keep on standard so you have equally the same amount of aim assist as you do at close range and far range, just to keep everything consistent. And then for the weapon mount activation, I did the ADS plus melee. This doesn't matter, I just prefer this one. Weapon mount movement exit, I have mine enabled. Aim down, sight behavior hold, equipment behavior hold, use/reload behavior, I have mine on Contextual Tab. I highly recommend having this for Warzone. If you're playing Warzone without Contextual Tab, make sure you switch, it's a game changer. You can loot so much faster. And for multiplayer, I actually prefer to do tap to reload, but since I'm trying to keep all my controls consistent, get used to certain things, and not have to retrain myself when I switch from multiplayer and Warzone, I just keep mine on Contextual Tab. The reason I like to have tap to reload on multiplayer is because when there's a pile of weapons on the ground in multiplayer, and I want to reload my weapon, half the time I'll actually pick up the weapon off the ground. And on Contextual Tab, all you have to do is hold the button to reload instead of tapping it, so that's the only mix-up things that you actually have to hold the button to reload, or else you'll probably pick up something off the ground, which gets very annoying. Slide behavior, I have mine on tap. I used to have mine on hold, but I just recently switched over to tap because it helps your movement. There's tons of different movements in the game and all these special movements that the pros do, and if you do those, you'll win so many more gunfights and just do overall better in the game. I'm going to be releasing a video soon about all the movements in Call of Duty. So when you have tap, it just makes doing those movements way easier than if you're going to have hold. Auto move forward, I have mine on disabled. Automatic sprint, I have mine on automatic sprint. I know some people do automatic tactical sprint for their movement, but when you're playing Warzone, they get super annoying, or when you're just playing search and destroy, it gets super annoying. So I found automatic sprint is just a happy medium. And now over to the general section, I have my brightness on 51. Safe area, you want this to be inward as possible, like the most in the middle as you can, and that is so you don't have to look all the way to the side of your screen to be able to see something. And for the film grain, you want this to be 0. You don't want it to look all fuzzy like the right picture, you want it to look like the left one, all clean and sharp. For the tooltips, I have mine enabled. Subtitles disabled, language selection English, colorblind type disabled. World motion blur, this is huge. You want this disabled. You don't want it to look like the right image, you want it to look like the left. You want everything to be sharp and clean. Same goes for the weapon motion blur. You don't want it to be blurred while you're moving around the map. You want everything to be sharp and clean. For the minimap shape, I have mine on squared so I can see more of the map, because the circle cuts off the corners. When you have square, you actually can see more of the map. For the minimap rotation, I have this enabled. For the text strip, I have enabled. Profanity filter disabled. Gore effects enabled. And now over to the audio, you want yours to be on boost high. This is going to be the best one. You'll be able to hear footsteps way easier than if you were to have any other setting on here. Maybe if you don't have a headset and you have just like it's coming out of your TV, or you have like a surround sound type room, you could do something else. But if you have a headset, do boost high, you'll hear footsteps way easier. Master volume, I have mine on 80. For the music volume, I have mine on 30 so I can hear more effects rather than the music. Dialogue volume 30. This actually helps because your character and other characters will actually call out if there's a UAV or something in the air. For the effects, I do 70. I just changed it right now since I didn't realize it was on 60 previously, so I just switched it to 70. This will help it so you can hear footsteps a little bit easier. Juggernaut music, I have mine enabled. Hit marker sound effects, I have mine on Modern Warfare. Voice chat enabled. Voice chat device, headset, and if you don't have a headset, make sure you switch it over to speakers. Open mic recording threshold 0, voice chat volume 300, just so I can hear my teammates in game chat a little bit easier if I need to hear them. Microphone volume 90. This is all personal preference, whatever is best for your headset. Voice chat effect, no effect. If you have this on stealth comms or classic chatter, makes it sound like you have a potato mic, so I would recommend switching it to no effect. And now for the account, if you don't want to play against PC players, I would do disabled. And so that's going to wrap it up for the best audio and game settings in Modern Warfare. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you leave a like, helps out the channel. If you have any questions about any of the settings, I will be happy to help in the comment section. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.